Story of the day and the story of the NFL right now is Lamar Jackson has officially requested a trade from the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously, that has a lot of ramifications for the Baltimore Ravens, the AFC North, and the AFC in terms of the pecking order in the AFC. We'll break this down. What does this mean? Will Lamar Jackson be traded this year? What team does he go to? And we'll talk about much more than that. We got a lot to talk about here on this episode of the Locked On Browns podcast.
You are Locked On Browns, your daily Cleveland Browns podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. It's your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound LGB on the LOB, the Locked On Browns podcast, brought to you at a Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Your host, Jeff Lloyd, at Jeff_LJ_Lloyd. Also from the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, 11 to 1, Monday through Friday on YouTube. Of course, 92.3, The Fan, on-air personality, the barbershop every Saturday morning. Garrett Bush at GBush91. For all your Locked On Browns content, make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, notifications on, and of course, the show's available on all your podcast platforms. Not relatively a ton of Browns news today, but AFC North news is Cleveland Browns news. The meetings this week, GMs, head coaches all out in Arizona. Coach Steph, we saw you rocking the Jays. We appreciate it. I know G's over there just like, yes, my people, my men. Coach Stefanski, you may be working your way back in with Garrett by showing up
slowly but surely. He keep wearing them J's. Listen. He's gonna be my guy by the time the season starts.
Coach Steph gonna be close, Buzz. That keeps up here. But look, the situation in Baltimore, and look, I don't think for anybody, anybody's really. Nobody believed anything. Look, until pen was put to paper, Lamar, I want more money. The Ravens, we have a contract waiting for him. Well, if there was a contract Lamar Jackson wanted, pen would have been a paper. The other thing you get to is now, it's coming from the Ravens standpoint. And this is like one of those things that in a relationship where it went south or whatever, I was done with her anyway. Well, dude, she dumped you, which is basically what Lamar Jackson's done. And this is kind of what. And look, Lamar did it today, and you saw John Harbaugh talking to the media. And these things are supposed to be layups media-wise. Like you're there, you give your stock answers, and you can see he's physically aggravated because this comes out on social media, and it comes out about 10 minutes before John Harbaugh's got to sit down and do his, waltz, so to speak, with the media here. The people cover it. You see the pictures. There's his table, and it looked like the combine when the quarterbacks speak, where all of a sudden 700 people just flooded the room out of nowhere. He's got no answer for anything. So he's got to give any answer he was going to give before this news drop, talking about, what he and his new offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, are cooking up. Good luck cooking up anything when you have no idea who the quarterback of your team is going to be. Lamar, look, this is going to be over somehow, some way. For the Ravens now, I don't even know if this is about compensation anymore, because once it gets out that you're ready to move on, you take what you can get and you don't be upset. Like I used to tell my kids when they were little, I wanted the purple lollipop. Look, I had red. All right. You take what you can get and you don't be upset. Once it's basically over and done with, that is what it is. So for the Ravens and, Lamar, look, it may not necessarily going to get to the point where he gets Deshaun Watson money. And Chris Mortensen's tweet, we're now questioning his sleeping patterns and his nutrition. Did we hack his DoorDash account? Have we, do we have somebody who lives in Lamar's house and can tell us how much Lamar sleeps and when he actually goes to bed and when he actually gets up? I mean, some of this stuff is so freaking mundane. It's stupid, G. It drives me asinine crazy. But I will just say this before we go. Before I shift it over to you. Obviously, Stenson Bennett, University of Georgia. Todd Monken, new offensive coordinator. You think there could be some legs there. Trey Lance, the 49ers quarterback, the GM has basically said that they think Brock Purdy, it's his gig when he's ready. And then there's also a part of me, G, that scares the living death out of me that the Ravens could find some way to manipulate whatever they get for Lamar Jackson, trade up, and then go get a bigger, stronger version in Anthony Richardson, because that would be the most Browns thing ever.
Yeah, that would be that would be kind of, the Baltimore Ravens actually, finding a way to have a succession plan that they kind of just accidentally walked into. Let me tell you this though. I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to figure out just how difficult it is to get a quarterback. See, there's a lot of teams who have been disillusioned and actually fooled into thinking that they're just better at picking quarterbacks than everyone else. I go to the Denver Broncos. Denver Broncos, you got John Elway. That was nice. Then you went for a couple of years without having nobody. Then you bribed Peyton Manning. He went out there. You had some success. It's a lot of teams. The Green Bay Packers are another organization where they feel like, we've got Favre and we got Aaron Rodgers back to back. So, we might as well get Jordan Love because we obviously are quarterback whisperers. But for the Baltimore Ravens, you're going to really figure out how difficult it is to go from having a franchise quarterback to toiling and figuring out, hey, how do we sell tickets? How do we stay competitive? How do we build an offense? How do we sign free agents? How do we evaluate rookies if we don't have a guy that can actually do that? And so there's a side of me that says, my dad always tells me something. He says, man, rule number one, when you get married, son, don't embarrass your wife in public. And I said, wow, okay, that's a very good rule, Dad. When this non-exclusive tag came out, I had a very good feeling, or I had a gut feeling that Lamar Jackson didn't like that. And what it was basically, in my opinion, them saying, oh, if you think you're so good, here's what all the other teams think about you. Here's what all the other teams have a grade on you with. You think you're worth 230? Well, if you were worth that 230, why didn't anybody put an offer sheet on you, Lamar? And I think he felt like that was a little bit disrespectful. I feel like he feels like they've been negotiating a little bit in the media. And after a while, when he had the 3 for 133 tweet, I said it was over. And then we started seeing stuff out of the league office talking about, hey, look, if Lamar Jackson, if there's this guy that he's messing around with, and you are not to be dealing with like Lamar Jackson was dealing with this Frank guy, that he was just some guy off the street. Like he was just some guy that, Lamar found, and he was just doing all these contracts. Come to find out, is his business manager. After that broke, it was a wrap. He was not going back to Baltimore. And right now, will somebody step up and give him 2 first-round picks for him? I don't know. But here's my thing. I will say this. Deshaun Watson didn't get a $230 million deal until after he sat out for a whole year. And once you sit out a whole year, there's always a team or two that didn't think they would be 4-12. And that will be a little more anxious to get back on the winning ways, especially with a guy who's a franchise-type quarterback who's been an MVP in this league, who is a guy that doesn't have any off-the-field issues. It's just, it may be now or later, but I feel like, like I said before, he was done in Baltimore.
It's once it got this far and the further it got into it, you knew it. It was like, because if you're not going to look to your former MVP quarterback and say, hey, let's get this wrapped, let's get this tight. And the reason you do it is I need to know what your money is. So I know what my budget is to get you what you need. And that is one of the biggest things to it. And look, at the end of the day, Lamar's not helping himself with no agent involved here. And look, Bengals fans, Steelers fans, Browns fans, bon voyage, Lamar. Bon voyage.
I hope it works out for you in the NFC.
And you want to know what? And if he's smart, he finds his way to the NFC. Yeah. You don't want to be in the AFC anymore. You don't want to. There is way too much.
Commanders look good. I think the Atlanta Falcons look
Atlanta,
good.
Baby. Absolutely.
That's a nice place for you. And I'm sure they would like a little bit of excitement down there in Atlanta.
Yeah, they'll sell that place out day in, day out. We're going to kick it up here. Keep moving along here. The 33rd NFL team, former Cleveland Brown, Mitchell Schwartz, a part over there, has put out their remaining top defensive free agents. G and I got to go through that, see if there's something that could stick here, because look, we'd still like a little help on that line. We'd still like a little help in that secondary. All that coming up here. Your latest Locked On Browns, Garrett Bush, Jeff Lloyd. We're reaching the finale of the NBA regular season, along with the Final Four. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, MLB is back this week. And that makes it the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's bonus bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. It's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Then you can bet on everything from the money line to point scores and 3 points drained. You guys know I love my New York Mets. So what I am looking forward to is same game parlays. I'm going to sit down and watch 9 innings of Mets games anyway. So if I can pick 5, 6 long shot bets, I'm putting down maybe $5. I can watch a game, hopefully watch my team win, turn a small $5 bet into a $100, $150 profit. Hey, man, it's all the more worth it. So don't miss the chance to get your no-sweat first bet up to $1,000 in bonus bets when you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon. That is FanDuel.com/lockedon to learn more. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Welcome back to the Locked On Browns podcast. We want to thank everybody for making Locked On Browns your first listen of each and every day. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube and hit the notification bell so you get all of our uploads as they come out. Jeff, we talked about, free agency is I think the big bulk of free agency is actually done for. And most of the teams that spend most of their money that they've done so far. So there's a ranking that we'll throw up here. 33rd team, they're on Twitter, and the 33rd team has the all free agent team. And then this is for the defense. We looked at the offense a little bit kind of beforehand, and there wasn't really much on the offensive end for the Browns. But I'm taking a look at this, and we'll go over some of these defensive candidates. Calais Campbell is a guy that we well know, long time Baltimore Raven. Poona Ford. Ashawn Robinson, I like that name, Ashawn Robinson. Leonard Floyd, a veteran pass rusher on the edge. You still have Jadeveon Clowney,
Jadeveon Clowney, that ain't gonna start till late August.
Yeah, listen. By the way, there's a lot of these guys. I think Clowney and a lot of these defensive linemen, they want no parts of this OTA off season.
Oh, no. They don't even want to do camp.
Yeah, they don't even want to do that, right? Deion Jones, right? He was just here. Rashawn Evans, Shaquille Griffin. And then Rocky Sin. I always liked him. I liked him coming out. I think he went to Temple, I think.
Yep.
I liked him a little coming out. Adrian Amos and John Johnson III. So we got a couple AFC North guys and 3 Cleveland Browns on there. John Johnson, Deion Jones, as well as Jadeveon Clowney. Jeff, any of these names spark any interest or really guys that you think could help the Browns?
Well, Calais Campbell is somebody that definitely stands out. And even at the veteran presence, and I know it sounds even like, kind of like low to talk about a guy like Calais Campbell. Guy is one of the best field goal and extra point blockers in the history of the NFL. Poona Ford, this is a guy I championed for during his draft process. Ashawn Robinson, I think he is the perfect guy to basically say he plays first down, and then we get him the hell up off the field.
Yep.
Linebacker's tough because I think with everybody being here and the fact that a lot of these guys are coming back off of injury, I think ideally you want to groom a kid, and you want a guy to come in, you want to draft one. Hey, look, Anthony Walker basically builds your own predecessor type of thing. Shaq Griffin is a cornerback I love, but the Browns aren't going anywhere. Adrian Amos here. That's one look. And the thing with all these names is the longer this process goes on, the cheaper people get.
Yep.
So and we talked about this and we heard about this with Juan Thornhill he was getting offers that maybe were a little monetarily better, but they were to play on lesser caliber teams. Adrian Amos, look, when you're in the last couple of years of your career, it's not necessarily about the money anymore. It's more about the opportunity, is this a good team? And, that's what your motivation is. Some of these guys' motivation is the God green dollar. And if you're looking at that second row of players and you look at the first name on the left, you understand what I'm speaking about as far as that is concerned. John Johnson III, I actually feel bad for JJ3 here because, look, there comes times where you can say, yeah, it's the player. but it was also what the team put him into or asked him to do. John Johnson III was never really truly asked to do what he was a good player with the Rams.
Yeah.
So we'll see the way it works out here. But you tell me Amos is a really interesting guy. I'm okay with that. A'Shaun Robinson. I think A'Shaun Robinson of this list that I'm seeing, and when you're factoring in what it would cost, I think that is a dream scenario for the Browns, G.
Yeah, I really like that.
And the other thing is we always talk about guys recruiting guys and da-da-da-da-da. Dalvin Tomlinson, A'Shaun Robinson, they are no strangers to each other.
Man, that'd be nice. Come on now. Listen, you ain't telling me that don't sound good. A'Shaun Robinson, Tomlinson, Myles Garrett and the young OG. That look real crisp. And you got some backups coming in. Like you said, I like that. You look at the rest of this. Listen, here's the thing. I think the guy that cost himself a lot of money, Jadeveon Clowney cost himself some money. I mean, because if you talk about an edge guy, who do you want? Jadeveon Clowney or Leonard Floyd? Come on now. I'm taking Leonard Floyd. Clowney is a good run guy, but he did not show very much as far as the pass rush, and you didn't show that much playing on the opposite of Myles Garrett. You getting a lot of singles, man. A lot of singles. You like Pete Rose, a lot of singles out here. And you didn't take advantage of them like Pete did. So, yeah, I think A'Shaun Robinson is a guy. I think Calais Campbell can help a contending team, though. I think he could still come in and give you something. And I think I wouldn't mind seeing him. He's going to play for somebody that's going to contend a little bit. I don't know who it was going to be. Deion Jones, man, that was kind of, yeah, he kind of got a little bad rap here too. I mean, he came in, he had an opportunity to show what he could do, and really didn't show much here in Cleveland. So, I think we're on the same page when it comes to A'Shaun Robinson.
It just seems like he would be the best fit. It just seems like he is the guy that can basically come on in here and what his role is. And he's the ditch digger. He's the guy who's going to do the dirty work. Hey, guess what? They're going to double team you. Here comes 330, 325 pounds. A'Shaun, take this on, because everybody else has got to run around and get business done. Certainly feels, of those guys remaining. Certainly Adrian Amos is an interesting name. Duron Harmon, veteran safety, former Rutgers guy, former Belichick guy, had a good year this year with the Raiders, would be somebody else that would fit here. And this is one where you kind of just let it come to you. The longer they're available, each day the dollar amount probably gets a little bit less and less and less. And, if you're the Browns, you can find great value here. Because look, when you're first basically stepping up to the plate and the draft is at 74, the cream of the crop's going to be gone. It's going to be long gone. So if you feel you need, one more guy in that safety room, and we all feel we probably need one more guy in that D tackle room, you got to find a way to make that happen, and make that happen rather quickly. We got one last segment to go here. Browns ranking as we are now past, basically the first, I'd say we're probably in third and a half wave, maybe the fourth wave of free agency. This is where the Browns used to get involved in free agency, but that ain't the case anymore here. Appreciate you all for being along here on Locked On Browns. Jeff Lloyd, Garrett Bush. We've told you guys about this. Built Bar. Look, everybody loves March Madness. Built's going to do March Madness themselves. We know you have a favorite bar or puff, and now is your time to make it count. Go to BuiltMarchMadness.com to vote for your favorite. I'll be voting for the cookies and cream bar. And if you want the Browns to win, then you'll be voting for them to support your team, support your bar or puff. And when you vote for your favorite bar or puff, you will be entered into a drawing where 50 Locked On listeners will get a free box of Built. Not only that, but one Locked On fan will win a 12-month subscription to Built to have Built's best bars or puffs delivered monthly straight to their door. You got to try Built. Built, the best protein bar ever. Seriously, they are amazing. You won't think they're good for you. What makes Built bars and puffs so good? Well, for starters, they are all high in protein. They are low in sugar, and they are covered in 100% real chocolate. That's right, real chocolate. Run to BuiltMarchMadness.com right now to vote for your favorite bar or puff and pick up a box while you are there. You can vote every day in March, so stop in and support your pick.
Welcome back to the Locked On Browns podcast. G. Bush, Jeff Lloyd in the building. Make sure you subscribe to our channel. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at GBush91. Follow Jeff at Jeff_LJ_Lloyd on Twitter as well. So, we'll borrow this next segment. 33rd team. I had a couple of other articles that I thought were very interesting. This one has a little something to do with free agency. They have the free agent, I guess, power rankings, I would call it. And they ranked each of the teams from first to 32nd based on where they sit after free agency. So if you look,
I'm about to lose my damn mind here in 1 second, but you go ahead.
Look, I had to unveil it. I unveiled the list late, like boom. Let me just see what let's get this instant reaction. But Jeff, I had a huge issue with this. As I'm looking at this and I'm saying, okay, I got no problem. Chiefs, they Chiefs in Philadelphia that were in the Super Bowl. Then you got the Bengals, you got the 49ers. And then the Bills. I thought the Jacksonville Jaguars was kind of high. I think the Detroit Lions is super high. And then we get to 11 and 12. Under what circumstances have the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Baltimore Ravens, what have they done to solidify themselves?
Nelson Aguilar, baby. Nelson Aguilar. I mean, if he doesn't give you the adrenaline of Jerry Rice, what is this?
The Browns are at 20. The Browns are at 20. Not to mention the Green Bay Packers are at 17. Aaron Rodgers is no longer on their team. Like, how are you 17th, right? You go and I think I'll give them the benefit of the doubt.
Who did they sign? Who signed in Green Bay? Did I miss them signing a starting defensive tackle, a starting free safety, making a move for a lot? What are you kidding me?
And I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on the Ravens. Maybe this came out before Lamar Jackson said he wanted traded, but even when Lamar Jackson was there and they were going back and forth, what moves have they made? They're having no moves. I just did not get. And Jeff, this is the thing with me, man. And I get it. The Ravens and the Steelers, a lot of times they live off reputation. Sometimes the Steelers
name.
It's like Kellogg's Frosted Flakes. You're like, man, Frosted Flakes ain't even that good. But guess what? They got Tony the Tiger. That commercial's on. They're great. And now
best thing about Frosted Flakes is when the cereal's gone and you eat the milk, and it's got that nice sweetness to it. Yeah. And
so they just skate by, Jeff. Besides those two teams, as we look at this, any other teams out here jump out to you like, what the heck are y'all talking about, man?
The Panthers at 18. The Panthers at 18. Is CJ? I mean, look, if it's post free agency power rankings, the fact that Carolina holds the number one pick, how are they a better team than the Browns? How in the world are you telling me Adam Thielen and DJ Chark? I'll be honest. You could tell me I could have both of them for league minimum, and I would still rather the Elijah Moore move.
Yes.
Let's go here a little further in here. The Dolphins, I'm okay with. It comes down to one thing and one thing only. It comes down to the health of Tua Tagovailoa. There's no question there. The Packers, look, I love the potential of Jordan Love, but it's a lot easier to say, hey, he's going to be the guy. He's going to be the guy. Well, guess what, young man? You're going to be the guy now. Will you be the guy? I can't think of a move some of these teams have made. I will differ with you. I will say right now, today, I think the Detroit Lions are going to win the NFC North. You got to keep in mind, they still have 2 first-round picks coming. 2 first-round picks.
In this season, this year?
Yes. They still have 2 first-round picks coming. And you brought in a guy like Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Yep. Dallas at 7. Huh? Like, for real? Dallas at 7?
They like
the Jaguars
that much.
Yeah, some of this look, the Colts sitting at 32. That could change drastically if they get their butts involved in the Lamar Jackson sweepstakes, which they 100 most certainly % should, because you don't want to be the team looking quarterback here in round 1 and be the team that doesn't get Stroud, Young, Richards. You don't want to be the team that walks out with Will Levis. You don't want to be that team.
And I kind of like Will Levis too. I just think he might. I think he might get you.
Will Levis in an ideal world.
Fired.
Will Levis needs to go late in round one, and maybe to a team where he is not. And I'll give you a team if you want it. I'll give you the Lions. Because look, Goff is one of these guys that people like while they have him, but they're always, you know what I'm saying? They're always peeking around the corner. Is there something better? Look, the Rams moved on from him after playing in a Super Bowl and won a Super Bowl.
That's crazy.
Will Levis, is a guy that needs to go late round one where you're not looking at a guy starting right away. Some of the Falcons. Look, it all comes down to the quarterback position. The Bears, I think the Bears had a pretty decent free agency. It seems, I don't think they should be that low. I think Denver, where they are, is a joke because it all, and maybe not a joke necessarily, but none of it comes down to any move they made. All it comes down to Russell Wilson and Russell Wilson only. Obviously, the Raiders. Who's their quarterback? Who's quarterback in the Las Vegas Raiders? Jimmy G. I mean, and look, I love Jimmy G, but he misses so much time every season. Now, Saints, they're better than the Saints. Panthers, better than the Panthers. Packers, better than the Packers. So that takes me right there to 17 right off the bat. Look, and the problem, and look, the 33rd team, and look, they're a great site, and they bring a lot of people with a lot of knowledge of the game. But when you start to talk about this old guard of NFL guys and NFL thinking, gee, they're the teams that when they talk about the Browns right now, that contract, that's caused a lot of issues within the league because we got a lot of friends. And I'll say it again, and I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. Other teams were ready to do it. Other teams were willing to do it. And if Patrick Mahomes tells the Chiefs he wants $235 million guaranteed, if Joe Burrow tells the Bengals, don't even talk to me unless it's $275 guaranteed, do those players get that money? Yep. Hell yeah, they do. So you want to know what? The money is there when you want it to be. Don't tell me the Browns made things more difficult for you. If you're trying to nickel and dime guys, at the end of the day, that's on you, and you're going to act. And the problem is, when you aggravate one guy, and in this scenario, the quarterback, you aggravate everybody because those guys say, well, if they ain't going to satisfy him, good luck for me getting at least what I need. For me getting at least my chunk of my piece of the pie.
Man, I tell you what, look, man, and if people want to act like, we've been through a lot, man. I mean, y'all make fun of, y'all want to make all these 30 for 30s and all this good stuff about how the drive and the fumble and all that other stuff. And, why do you think we would even care if we made it harder for y'all? We wanted to make it hard for you. I'm glad. I hope you have to pay every non-good guy between now and when Kingdom Come. Because guess what? We just trying to win right now. We're not worried about how many dollars y'all got. Y'all billionaires. Y'all get $16 billion, and y'all cutting that up how many ways between y'all. You guys got the bread. You got the money. You got the bag. I don't care.
They are ready to alter Thursday Night Football, G, and tell you 2 weeks in advance that you're now got an extra Thursday night game, all for the godforsaken dollar. Well, you want to know what? If you're all making that money, you better satisfy the guys who are drawing the eyes to every game that you air.
Pay them. I don't know how you feel. I don't know how you figured that you could continue to get 16 at one point in time, Jeff. It's all it's gonna all come back to you. Look what NIL is in college football. Listen, all you had to do is come to the table with a little something, and maybe it wouldn't be. But NIL and the transfer portal has Florida Atlantic in the Final Four. Remember Kentucky used to have 97 blue bloods, 97 all-Americans. People like, I'm not about to go to Kentucky just to sit behind you guys. I'll go anywhere. I could go anywhere and play and still get this thing off. So, at the end of the day, I look at it, Baltimore, my heart goes out to you. Not really though, because you used to be the Cleveland Browns. And you won 2 championships, and we do not care in the least bit. No, not to the not to the Locked On Ravens people. We are colleagues over there. No disrespect.
No, but nobody feels bad because you didn't see yourself. This should have been done a long, long time ago. And gee, how many times did I say it last year? The fact that Baker Mayfield and Lamar Jackson are at the same spot contractually right now is an absolute joke. Well, I told you it was coming. If you could not satisfy him, and look, yes, him not having an agent doesn't help, but all you had to do was say, hey, get a lawyer to look this over, and it's $200 million guaranteed. Guess what? You tell me $200 million guaranteed, I will find a lawyer at 3:30 in the morning to go over this contract and make sure it is in my best interest. It got to this point because you let it get to this point. He is Garrett Bush, Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, Monday through Friday, 11 to 1, live on YouTube. Obviously now starting to expand and open up coverage, Cavaliers playoffs, Guardians back in action. So make sure you're checking everything out. Guys over there do a fantastic job. You need to get trimmed up. You need to look smart, sharp. Spring is coming. You got things to do on the weekends. You need to get into the barbershop, 923 The Fan, Saturday mornings. G. Bush hosting. Get up in there. Sometimes gets up in the fields with Mr. Hiram Boyd and things of that nature. So you got to be there for all that. I didn't even know that dude was still breathing, G, until I heard a little bit of that.
He's still doing
but make sure anything, you can make sure you're following at GBush91 to be kept up to everything G's got going on. Myself, Jeff Lloyd, at Jeff_LJ_Lloyd, the show itself at Locked On Browns. We appreciate you all for making Locked On Browns your first listen. Anything Browns wise, make sure Locked On Browns on YouTube. You're subscribed, got notifications on. After that, go ahead, check out Locked On NFL Scouting. Kyle Krabs, Joe Marino. They take you from contracts to draft picks to game in action. Make sure you're giving that a peek as well. For everything else, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this has been your daily delivery of all things Dog Pound. LGB on ELOB. Let's go Browns.